Michael Owaleen just shared some details on his new plans for Cartoon Network. This is looking to be good. Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome to Regular Josh 1. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button in this video, and if you're new, subscribe. Cartoon Network has had a rough year so far. Again, we can all thank what else? The merger for that. That's gonna be a new phrase I'll be saying here for a while, isn't it? With HBO Max removing a lot of their shows, to Tom Aschheim no longer being the president of the network after only 2 years, to layoffs happening within the studio, we can definitely say that 2022 has not been the best year for Cartoon Network. And it sucks because I was looking forward to the new changes that were coming from Tom Aschheim. In fact, these plans that he had was to try to have an ambitious kid and family business with one that would actually be able to compete with Disney. I mean, imagine Cartoon Network competing with Disney, which I would assume he means the television channel, because there is no way that Cartoon Network by themselves would be able to compete with Disney, that giant conglomerate. No. That was partially why he was even willing to bring in a couple of live action shows under their belt, which would have been on the streaming service, but under Cartoon Network's name. Well, obviously, these plans have been shelved under the new media conglomerate. However, we now know of the new plans to come for the brand, one that may make a lot of fans happy. Now, the current president, Michael Owaleen, had to reassure the fans of Cartoon Network that they are indeed not dead. Go figure. In fact, he says that we have more stuff coming next year than we had this year. And of course, I have to say, obviously. I mean, besides Scooby-Doo Guess Who premiering on the channel this year as well, We Baby Bears was literally the only new series that arrived to the channel. That's it. So yeah, next year better have more shows. Believe me, and I'm sure he knows this, we have been waiting on new shows to arrive on Cartoon Network for a long time. So I'm glad that it's finally happening. Yes, we still don't have a date for any of these shows, but he confirmed that they are indeed coming next year. He did also talk a bit about their preschool block, Cartoonito. It seems as though they are being fairly successful right now, as their other originals like Mecha Builders, Bugs Bunny Builders, Bob the Builder. I'm just kidding, I'm sorry. Like, just the fact that there's 2 original shows on Cartoonito ending with the name Builders, I just find it funny. I can't. And also, Batwheels have all been renewed for a 2nd season. In fact, Batwheels is actually their #1 show with boys 2 to 5, and the #1 preschool show currently streaming on HBO Max. And in a surprising way, at least to them, it's seeming to do well with some adult audiences too. That is very well deserved because this is truly a great show in my opinion. Like, I'm genuinely enjoying the show, and mind you, I mocked the idea of this plenty of times on my channel. So it's kind of ironic how big of a fan I am of Batwheels, and seeing the confirmation that it's being renewed for a 2nd season makes me incredibly happy. Considering that it was a gamble for them to jump into the preschool market again, I am glad that they're finding success. It's certainly doing better than Tickle You. Now, speaking of HBO Max, a couple of things to mention. Since they are pulling back from the kids and family programming, Cartoon Network is now going to be the main supplier of the shows for them. In fact, both them and Adult Swim are gonna be the main suppliers of animated content for HBO Max. Now, I guess this just means that if there's gonna be a new exclusive show to the streaming service that's animated, it's most likely gonna come from either Cartoon Network or Adult Swim. So, if anything, it seems like they might be expanding a little bit on that because they've kind of been doing that already. Well, at least Cartoon Network has. I don't really know about Adult Swim. And considering that they are still having shows premiering on their channel, and then it premieres on their service a little later, sometimes a day later, they may not really be changing too much in terms of that. They're already in talks, seemingly, about certain things that they have in development, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. Also, HBO Max. Yeah, that's no longer going to be the name for the future. Yes, we all knew this since Discovery Plus and HBO Max are merging. See, I don't know exactly what I expected for the new service to be named, but I certainly expected better than what we got. The new streaming service will be called Max. Yep, just Max. Really? That's the best that you could come up with? You couldn't even call it Warner Max or something? Wouldn't that have been a better name than just Max? I mean, all of the other streaming services that are made from these studio companies at least have their names in the title, or at least something that still represents the brand. Sure, HBO Max wasn't exactly representing the Warner Brothers brand, at least I don't think it did based on the name alone, but even then, it's a recognizable brand. Everyone knows HBO Max. I mean, I'm just saying, the very least they could have done was have a name that people can recognize, but Max is just... Now, remember how I said earlier in the video that I was excited about the previous plans that Cartoon Network had under Tom Aschheim? Well, while I would have still liked to have seen how this new era would have panned out, with them wanting to be more of a family channel instead of a kids channel, it seems like that is still in motion with these new plans. In fact, Michael Oweleen wants for Cartoon Network to kind of go back to its first charter, meaning that instead of it being a kids channel, it's just gonna be an animation channel. Now that makes a lot of sense considering that Cartoon Network was just an animation channel for most of its life. I mean, that's honestly how it started out. Yes, it did begin skewing more towards a kids demographic later on in their years. Now, say what you want about the early 2010s with them still having live action content, but it was certainly appealing to more than just kids at that time. Even with shows like Adventure Time, Regular Show, and later down the line, Steven Universe, these shows appealed to such a broad audience. Kids, teens, and adults alike all enjoyed these shows. This was also around the time when they still had action shows on the channel as well. In a way, they used to have something for everyone. And that's what Michael wants to do with Cartoon Network again. He knows that they have always attracted a big 18 to 49-year-old audience, and apparently their median age during the day, which makes sense because most kids would be in school during that time, is around 29 years old. He knows it's not just kids watching the channel, so it makes sense that he now wants to start bringing more shows to the channel that can appeal to everyone. Also, what's good about this is, at least this is how I see it, is this is going to reinforce the idea that animation is for everyone, not just for kids. It is honestly sad that we still have to say this today. And with this new initiative, I think it's clear that Cartoon Network is going to start heading in the right direction. He did not shy away from the fact that due to this merger, things have been difficult for them lately. They had to make some difficult changes and decisions, but he is doing the best that he can in order to make everything work. And considering that he's been with the network since 1996, he certainly seems to care a lot about Cartoon Network, and I have full confidence that he's going to do what he can in order to bring it back to its former glory. It was looking bleak for a while, but I am glad to say the future of Cartoon Network is starting to look pretty bright right now. I leave the question off to you. Do you think Michael Oweleen is going to get Cartoon Network back on track? Also, what show are you most looking forward to seeing next year on the channel? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell to be notified on my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, you're hearing it from a regular bunny in a regular world. See you next time.